AITA for not letting my mom come to my wedding after she ignored me my whole life. Greater than she started crying and saying I'm holding a grudge and that I'm her son, and she deserves to be there. And you're her son who deserved to have mother that cared and prioritized you at least occasionally. But here you are. You're well within your rights to hold that grudge until you feel comfortable letting her back into your life, which is not now. Greater than others think I should just let it go. And it's just one day, and that I should let her come to the wedding to keep the peace. I hate this sentiment with a passion. What peace? You would not be at peace if you had your mom at your wedding. Childhood neglect is not something you forgive and forget for most people. Especially when you've come to terms with not having a relationship with your parent. She doesn't get to waltz back in to ruin what's supposed to be one of the happiest day of your life. NTA. This is your wedding. You're supposed to have the people you love around you. It's not for her or anyone else. You said you would talk about things after the wedding, which is reasonable. It's up to you who you invite, not your family. It may be unpopular with some of them, but ultimately it's your decision. So she must have some sort of flying monkey among the people you are in touch with. Do you have any idea who? Someone has been keeping her abreast of developments. Or she wouldn't know anything about it. I'd be tempted to be as brutal as necessary. Tell anyone who raises the topic, I am not interested in granting her any kind of a redemption arc. I have learned how to live without having her in my life. And she without me. I have every intention of keeping it that way. The subject is closed. NTA. Your mom basically pulled a, hey, stranger. Like she's an old friend sliding into your DMs after ghosting you for years. Now, because it's a big life event, suddenly she wants to play proud mom. Nah, she missed out on the backstage pass a long time ago. It's wild that she thinks she can just show up now like everything's cool. She had all these years to be involved but chose Dave and his kids over you. That's on her, honestly. Weddings are about celebrating with people who've been there through thick and thin. Not people who show up out of nowhere when it's convenient. If she's serious about reconnecting, she should respect that your wedding isn't the time or place to start. You've offered to talk after. And that's actually really mature. If she really cares, she'll wait and try to rebuild something. Otherwise, she's only proving your point. I did not allow my dad on my wedding for similar reasons. I have never regretted that decision. Family members who gave me a hard time about it were also not invited, and I went LC with them. AITA for not letting it go when my car got totaled. NTA. I would at this point politely at first request the investigation be done by your county police or state police. Her uncle being the chief of police is a huge conflict of interest, and it seems like they are completely ignoring the damage to your car that probably totaled it. In addition, make sure your insurance knows about all of this, including the uncle being chief of police. Police like him give the profession a bad name. I have family and friends who are police, law enforcement, and if they had a family member do this, they would report the family member in a nanosecond. NTA. Annie committed a hit and run. Report this to the police and your insurance company. Edit. Your principal has a zero tolerance against harassment, but apparently is 100% okay with shielding a felon. NTA. Say you'll let it go once they pay to either fix or replace your car. I hope you got pictures of her car that you can compare to yours to help along with it was her car. I also would tell your dad about what happened and them refusing to let a parent be with you while this talk was happening. Also, harassing is definitely not one approach to ask a simple question. It's multiple approaches over time that increases in aggression. You did not do any of that, however. Let it go? Someone destroyed your car and you let it go. No, but I would take pictures of both cars and see if you can definitively nail down through witnesses or otherwise that she is responsible. If that is the case, I would make a police report and sue her for damages. A slight fender bender maybe can be let go. This was an assault. Also, if she gets away with it, she may end up doing it again to someone else. You're the if you let it go. NTA. I would actually escalate this and press charges. I have zero tolerance for this type of bullshit. Should be pretty easy to prove it was her car. Was there paint left on either your car or hers that would provide evidence? AITA, my husband 38, ate half my 29 food I meal prepped. Am I overreacting? Let me get this straight, he's just fine as a partner when he eats the food he knows you are meal prepping for yourself for the week. But you're not a real partner because you objected to his inconsiderateness? NTA. Does he always play these kind of gaslighting games with you where he takes advantage of you and then plays victim and tries to convince you that you did something wrong? There's something seriously wrong with this picture. NTA. He knew that was meal prepped food because you told him so. He still ate nearly half of what was meant to be a whole week's food. Bit greedy. Greater than he told me I should take it as a compliment, and as a wife I should be happy to make him food. I'm sorry. What? He's eaten half of your breakfast for the *week and expects you to thank him for the compliment? Greater than freaking out saying how I'm being not a real partner by calling it out sounds like he wants servant, not a partner. You're not being a bad partner. You're just not acting like his servant. Some men can get those two confused and expect you to cook, clean, etc. for him, but he doesn't think to do those things for you. The entitlement says it all. He's the one being a bad, very inconsiderate partner. NTA removed. NTA, and his reaction was fucking alarmingly misogynistic. AITA for not telling my daughter, who was on her honeymoon, that her grandmother passed away. NTA been in your daughter's place. I was closer to my grandma than to my mom. I'd been living in another country for a year. When my grandma died, I was in London, a trip that I'd been saving up for, constantly talking about, and super excited about for months. My grandma died of a very aggressive, or very advanced, cancer. They found out and she died 2 weeks later. I was told when I returned from my trip. Part of me is super sad that I didn't get to say goodbye to her. I didn't get to be with her and love her when she left. But I understand why my family didn't tell me. They probably knew I'd cancel my trip and fly back home, and they didn't want me to miss out on it. I'm okay with it because there is no right answer. And because they decided out of love. NTA. If your daughter has told you herself that she's glad you didn't inform her until after her honeymoon, then no, you aren't an Your relatives' opinions don't matter in this situation. So ignore them. Anyone with common sense would realize you waited to tell your daughter because you didn't want to ruin her honeymoon. If your relatives can't understand that, then that's their problem. NTA. Greater than my daughter is thankful that I didn't tell her and her husband is on my side. Your daughter's opinion is the on that matters. Greater than my brother and his kids think I'm an asshole for not telling her when it happened. Your brother and his kids are way out of line. NTA. And I'd be willing to bet your mom would say the same. Your daughter gave your mom the gift of moving her wedding. You gave your daughter the gift of starting her marriage in peace and happiness. I'm sorry about your mom. NTA. It was tough situation for you. You acted with your daughter's best interest in mind and according to her expression of gratitude for your choice. You did the right thing. Everyone else's opinion doesn't matter. My parents also kept the news about my grandpa being in bad shape for a few hours. Until I got off work. They thought there was nothing for me to do and a few hours were not going to change it. They were right and I understood. We actually had a conversation about what news at which timing I would like to get after that. She knew her grandma would possibly not make it. She probably already said bye? Knowing earlier would have tainted her honeymoon. I think you did the kind thing for her. Had she expressed disagreement on this, you'd have to apologize, but you'd still not be an AH in my eyes.